Sorry, my hand slipped and I pressed leave meeting instead of got it.
Well, your video's not active yet, Bill. There we go. I want to thank you, everybody. Welcome to Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is a weekly online drawing group that's been going on nigh of 7 or 8 years now. We started back when Google Hangouts was a thing and switched over to Zoom once that faded away. And all this before the pandemic and online conferencing was really a thing. Anyway, the format of the show is after introductions, we each work on our own projects. During our introductions, we tell people what our projects are that we're working on today. We also say who we are and what city we're in. My name's Mark Monolix. I live in beautiful Tacoma, Washington. And today I'm going to be working on coloring a giant boar from an Australian horror movie from the 70s called Razorback. Roger, you were first in. What are you going to be working on today? And you'll have to turn on your microphone. Or maybe he stepped out of the room as Rogers want to do.
Hi there.
Oh, there he is.
Yes, I'm working on my animation for various projects. Thanks. I come from Spokane, Washington.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roger. Bill, it's your turn.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bill Morris. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist in Seattle, Washington. I also do a webcomic called Rhapsodies that you can see at rhapsodies.wpmorris.com. And I will be working on inking some of those today.
If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, I'll be putting in a link down below where you can find all of us online. We all have Instagram accounts and various pages where you can find our work. And feel free to go to Epic Sketch Time on Facebook and sign up for our email list reminders there. Or you can direct message me, just go to markmonlix@comcast.net. Or if you can always sign up by Eventbrite. But our regular email list tends to be more consistent than via Eventbrite. And I definitely send that email out on a nice, consistent basis. Does anyone, I got that few pieces of news. This weekend at the Puyallup Fairgrounds is the Washington State Toy Fair. And I'll be, I have a table there, so you can see me selling my prints and enamel pins and stuff. There's going to be 2 buildings. There's the Mega Complex Hall, and there's also another building kitty corner across the way that has 2 floors. And I don't know where I'm being put this year, but he usually puts me someplace nice. Last time I was in the building across the hall because I kind of like that little building. It's kind of nice there. I don't mind being in the Megaplex, but I don't mind being there either. Some people don't like being upstairs, but he evens everything out by having people, guest stars, various actors and professional artists, as well as voice actors come in and for signatures, and he puts a lot of key people upstairs to make sure that there's traffic going up there.
Nice.
Does anybody know of any other events that are happening this weekend? Bill, do you know of anything?
Oh, nothing specific. I mean, it's the next week that has all the fun stuff.
What's happening next week?
You have a choice between the big anime convention, SakuraCon, in the middle of Seattle, or the big science fiction convention, NorthwestCon, in down in SeaTac at the DoubleTree.
I'm looking to see when the punk rock flea market is in Seattle.
Oh, right. That was, I looked at the
Oh, that
date.
is this weekend. Yeah, the punk rock flea market is in Seattle this week. Bill, you may want to check that out. It's very inexpensive to get in through the door. I think it's just like a couple dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, it says here, it's located at 1404 3rd Avenue, and it's only $1 to get in.
Okay. It's weird. I looked for the address, looked like it was somewhere around the post office, but I didn't recognize any landmarks besides that.
Let's see, 1402 3rd Avenue. This is what returns to what's called NIIMODO,
Okay.
NIIMODO. So I don't know what NIIMODO is.
I didn't either. And when I looked it up on the screen view on Google Maps, I didn't see anything that I recognized.
Well, whatever they are, the building must be available for additional use, and it's got to be a fairly large building on the inside. And usually, if there's a parking lot area or something attached, there are tents outside as well. That's usually fenced off.
Okay.
But I had great fun going to the last one I went to, which was here in Tacoma. It was just crazy stuff. The one that's scheduled is in Tacoma. Is happening on May 27th and May 28th at Alma Mater, which is where it was last time. I'm on the waiting list for it, but I have since accepted an invitation to my brother's day before Labor Day party, because I think that's the same weekend.
Oh, right. Which is,
There's also something called, those people put on another thing. Do you know a place called South Park in Seattle, Bill?
not specifically in Seattle. I mean, I could imagine there's certainly places that have that address, but I have nothing ringing any bells.
So apparently every third Saturday, there's something called SPASM, the South Park Swap Meet. And it runs from April through October from noon to 6 on every third Saturday. And is this the third Saturday this month? Well, if so, that's yet another thing. I always like fun shows like this.
I can imagine.
Oh, I just got a message from someone asking me about Art Dilemma. Let me see. Bill, do you by chance know what the code is for getting into this room? I mean, the digits.
Oh, not offhand. Let me
Okay,
see.
that's all I need to know. I can look it up myself. If you knew them offhand, I'd. Let me see if I can invite this person in. James, welcome to Epic Sketch Time. Looks like James is still finding his buttons.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you, James. What's up?
Okay, yeah, I just had a question. I'm having an event called Planet of the Arts, and I don't know if you heard about it. It just started. It's its first inaugural year, and I just want to have a really creative environment. And to make a long story short, I got my, I have the ear of a lot of different artists, but I don't think I know a lot of cosplayers. And that's such a great. There's a section of Planet of the Arts called it's specifically for pop culture. So yeah, I don't. Who do I chat with, or who can I talk to? Does anybody know who I might be able to get a hold of, or join a group, something?
Actually, since you're on Facebook, you can start there. There is a group called, let me look it up. It's called Tacoma-Lakewood Cosplayers.
Say it again.
And this is a fun group. I approached them about back in November saying, hey, I'd like to have people available to model for free at with some artists in Tacoma. And so we do this on the fourth Wednesday of every month from 6 to 8 o'clock. And I had like 6 people immediately jump on that day and say, oh, I'm interested. I'm interested.
And they had outfits and everything?
I beg pardon?
They had outfits, they had costumes and
Oh yeah, their costumes are just superb. So they come in and do that. So if you invite cosplayers to your event, you can, one of the things we did to incentivized this is said, hey, we'll give you a free movie pass because we were holding the drawing session at a local theater. And they
Okay.
had a public room they wanted us to use. So we were able to give them that. And then we put out a tip jar for them. But just this would be just a great way for you to post your event and say, hey, maybe cosplayers get a buck off at the door. I don't know if yours is a free event or something, but certainly, yeah, you can get the
No,
word out.
I can definitely incentivize. That doesn't. I got resources. So I just need the the vibe. I need people who are into what they love to do, and I just want to let them shine. And I have no problem incentivizing. I can definitely find a way to incentivize, whether it's a small amount of cash or some sort of perks.
Shoot for the perk first, because as long as you can keep your expenses down.
Okay, I'll do that.
And certainly, if you have something like a costume contest, that's going to definitely pull people in, especially if you
Ooh,
line up
that's a
some
good
nice
one.
prizes.
Oh, that is a really good one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they love showing off their costumes. You will get people; they will come in, stay all day, and enjoy it. If you have the sign up at a certain time and then the costumes at another time, that pretty much incentivizes them to stick around for the day.
I love it. I'm going to definitely do that. I appreciate it very much.
So
So,
I've
I mean,
sent
if
you a
could just send
link
me a link.
on in a chat,
Okay.
and yeah, I'd love. Could you post back to me about this event and when it's happening? I'll mention this to other artists that I know.
Yeah.
How much
So-
are you during the show? Are you sort of like picking who can be in the show, or are the tables available, or what's the situation here?
Kind of all of the above. We are vetting some aspects of it, so there's certain ideas and concepts that we want to present, and it isn't just like a vending thing. It is 100% about art and every form that comes in. And there are like sectors. There's like a fine arts section. There's a pop culture section. There is a sort of graffiti and urban section. And there's kind of a mishmash because not all art is definable, right? And so and we're working with some thespians and some theatric people so they can be in costume and stay within their zones so that zone actually has like a vibe. But I'll send you all the information. I have another meeting I got to jump right into, but I would love to have you, Mark, or any advice you have, man. I'm a huge admirer of your illustrations and whatnot. So I got to go, but thank you
Okay,
so much.
thanks for stopping by, James. And yeah, I'll see what I can do about sending more links your way.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Mark.
Bye, James. Yeah, heard it here first on Epic Sketch Time. That's what we're here for.
Mhm.
Looking for my drawing page. And what I'm going to do is, because we all have our heads down and we're working, I see Roger is working on his animation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just draw on, or just color online so that there's something up there for people to look at. Roger, when you do animations, do you go for the full 36 frames a second, or you go for something a little bit more like 12 frames per second?
Yeah, about 12. Depending on the software, I can adjust as I need to on the fly.
And what's the name of the software that you're using?
It's called AvaCam, and it has its own built-in API, not API. Oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, it's own MP4 maker. But that's the wrong format I'm thinking of. But anyway,
Nice.
So I think the format is AVA. No, that's all right. Whatever it is, it starts with A. But it's been around a long time. It's perfect compact. It works with my old Windows XP machine, which is what I'm trying to get on now. Plug in. Over here, whoa, that's the baby. Dell 745. Works like a top too, man.
Come on. So this is my drawing so far.
Oh, I assume you do giving the, as usual, giving it way too much credit there.
It's basically a giant boar. So
Uh,
it does have some big tusks. Actually, I don't like that last bit of the screw. I think I'll get rid of that. I think this film came out in 1975 or thereabouts, 73, 75.
By chance, is it on the internet, YouTube, or not?
Oh, I'm guessing that it's out there. It may be even like a Mystery Science Theater 3000, but yeah,
Right.
if you look for Razorback, you should be able to find it.
I recognize the name in my YouTube wanderings of B movies.
There's actually a fairly new series of wild boar films, some of them coming from Australia that have come out. And I haven't seen the new ones yet, so I'm curious if they pay homage to Razorback.
yeah, I mean,
I think they're called things like boar. And
yeah, it's interesting. Razorback was always one of those words that was just vague enough that I wasn't sure what it meant. I mean, I know it means it's a feral pig, but I was never sure if it was a feral domestic boar, a different species, or for the longest time I thought they were peccaries.
so what did you find, Bill? Is it just a slang term for them, or?
I assume it's still, I admit that I wasn't that curious, but the best.
Oh, okay, so you still don't know for sure.
The best of my knowledge, it's a feral domestic. Oh, one cool thing, I saw an owl yesterday.
Did you ever read a book called I Heard the Owl Call My Name?
Never read it, but I know of it. Is it sort of a reference to the old superstition that if you hear the owl hears you speak your name, you're going to die the next day?
Yes. is a reference to that.
But no, I'm told it was a classic in the mid 50s, wasn't it?
Oh, geez, when did that come out? I think it's either well, I know I always thought it came from the 70s because that's when I learned about it. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure when that book first came out. There's also a movie by the same name, and I know the movie came out in the 70s.
It was weird. It comes off like one of those. You ever find it weird where the only way that you know about certain aspects of pop culture and history is that it's referred to in other pop culture. So, for example, all I know about a tree grew in Brooklyn was there were about 3 jokes about it in assorted Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yeah, Mark, there is a dissertation in Wikipedia says it came out in 1984 of November called Razorback.
Or it's a 1980s film.
Right, if indeed it's the same one you're thinking of.
I wonder why I thought it was older. Well, that makes sense because in the 80s, Australia was really looking to increase its international footprint in film. So they were providing a lot of incentives to film producers to make Australian films. And they were expecting some, highfalutin films. But what they also got was a ton of B movies type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, technically Mad Max.
Things like and Grindhouse stuff, like movies like Turkey Shoot. Which is a solid Grindhouse film, if you ever watched. I'm looking forward to my dinner tonight. My wife did some slow cooked pulled pork. The other day we had it for dinner last night and it was very good, and we'll have it again for dinner tonight and probably freeze the rest of it because pulled pork for 3 dinners in a row is enough to you don't want to go off on pulled pork. I mean, pulled pork's delicious, right?
That's one thing that's frustrating. I've been starting to experiment with more recipes, which unfortunately leads to having a slightly repetitive diet.
Because you're a bachelor and the meals usually are enough for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
So, Bill, I know that you bought a food processor the other day.
Yep.
And that you made some bread with it.
Yeah.
And, is the bread all gone now, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I shared it with a friend because it's sort of a case of where, because of my diet, I didn't want to have too much of it. but I'm definitely planning on making another batch of it because, as I said, I'll be
It's
doing-
ground.
I will be doing Norwescon next week, and it's probably best to have a whole lot of sandwiches on me for that weekend.
Now, did you notice that Roberta, I believe it was Roberta Gregory,
Yeah,
is looking for someone to house sit so that someone can take care of her cat while she's at Norwescon. So if anyone is in, what was it? I'm trying to remember, Laconer, in the Laconer area, is available to do some house sitting. She would love for someone to reach out. I know she'd prefer somebody she knows, but I think everyone she knows is either going to be at Norwescon or doing something else.
yeah, it's one of those catch-22s about the community. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't done Norwescon in years.
It's changed quite a bit from when I used to go there.
Yeah,
I mean, Norwescon used to be like the only game in town when it came to conventions. So you would get movie releases lined up there. There were rooms with this is pre-internet. So there would be the TV stations on at the hotel would be running movies specifically for the convention. Like there'd be an anime channel, and there'd also be rooms that would be going 24 hours a day where you could watch, one film after the other between going to sessions. I don't know if they still do that or not.
I do not know. I've been looking at the schedule. I didn't see anything like that. So at the
They
moment,
still do a lot of seminars. I know
Oh.
that their vending room is very small.
it's never been more than one room. So yeah, in my
And it's not a very large room. I've been both the customer in that room and a vendor. And I know you'll have to tell me, Bill, and report back as to whether or not they usually have people who are promoting clubs and things out in the hallways. But for a
Oh.
while there, they were having writers and artists out in the hallways.
Yeah, and apparently they seem to be doing that with the artists again. I don't know how much, because in the past they were in some back hallways that you almost found by accident. So a mutual friend of ours, Larry Lewis, is going to be doing that there. And one of the things I find quite frustrating for this year is that for the longest time, one of my little favorite parts of going to Norwescon was this breakfast buffet at the Doubletrees restaurant. And because I am on the home stretch of a diet, I can't touch it.
Well,
I
do
mean-
they even still offer that ever since? Because a lot of buffets stopped with the pandemic.
That would be a comfort, I admit. And it had been going downhill for the last couple, it felt like it was going downhill anyway. But
Maybe it wasn't so much going downhill as your tastes were becoming more refined.
maybe.
Speaking of breakfasts, I just got through supporting Kickstarter today for a place in Tacoma. Some freelancing cooks started this thing that they called Side Piece Kitchen,
Okay.
because they did the kit, they were basically cooking cheesecakes and biscuits were their two main thing. Really elaborate cheesecakes, weird flavors. Like one of their flavors was pickle, which for some reason went over really well. And what you would do is they would post, if you go to on Instagram, Side Piece Kitchens, every Tuesday they drop what that week's biscuit sandwich is going to be and what that week's cheesecake is going to be, and you pre-order because they don't have a brick and mortar, and then then you pick it up in this alley. And they started with, first they were doing like 5 cheesecakes a week, then they were up to 20, and they just kept growing and growing and growing. But to the point where they thought, hey, let's do a brick and mortar. And a couple of them quit their day jobs so that they could work on prepping the meals every week. They got themselves an employee. And so this Kickstarter is for they're hoping to get 30,000 for their brick and mortar. And this thing just hit. In the last couple of days, they're halfway to their goal.
Nice.
And so I went on the level that got me 6 biscuits, a biscuit sandwich, and what else? And a t-shirt.
Oh,
As I mentioned it to my wife, and she says, "Oh, I wouldn't mind a t-shirt." I was going to do a lower level, but she said she wanted the t-shirt, so.
You can't pass up a good biscuit sandwich. There's a place I treat myself to every now and again over here called Morsels.
Yes.
And
Heard
man,
of that place.
their biscuits and gravy is divine. Every now and again, if I wasn't so low carb these days, I'd be very tempted just to pick up a bag of the biscuits alone just to put butter on them.
Good for you, Bill, for keeping those off. Did we lose Roger? Oh man, we lost Roger.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting being on the home stretch. I'm sort of starting to do, taking it even more seriously to get it over with. So for example, I was sort of as I was saying, I was planning on making sandwiches. I'm saying, okay, how can I substitute mayonnaise? I've been looking at several recipes involving Greek yogurt.
Yeah. I stopped using yogurt for breakfast because I realized even the Greek yogurt had a lot of sugar in it. And
I generally just go with the plain because I find most of the flavored ones these days absolutely cloying with the sweetness.
I was going for the plain stuff too, but even that I was realizing this is 160 calories. Jesus, no, 360.
Oh,
So yeah, I would,
the brand I use.
calories drop.
I've been going with this European style non-fat yogurt, which is kind of, because it's sort of like after a certain point where I'm complaining about it, oh, maybe I don't like plain, much as I'm having trouble with the sweetness of the flavored ones, is going plain, pushing it. I'm going, you're mixing it with granola, which the batch you make had a cup of sugar in it.
That's true. My wife finds most over-the-counter granola a little too sweet, so she's been making her own granola and baking it to get just the right flavor she likes. Her granola is downright delicious.
Oh, the way I've been doing it lately uh the last few batches I've been making are really good. I mean, mine's pretty much based on my mom's recipe, but recently I've been doing adding walnuts, which with the food processor I can make almost as just a little more rough than where it's almost a breadcrumb consistency, and the way it mixes with everything else is amazing.
Oh yeah, I love nut crumbles.
Hmm.
That's I often will get a Costco jar of mixed nuts, and when it gets towards the bottom of the jar, it's all the broken up nuts at the bottom, and I love to have those on my yogurt. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, so anyway, as far as these alternative spreads, the two choices other than hummus that I've looked at is one, there's a Arabic spread I saw mentioned on a cooking channel I follow that sounded like it was pretty much strained Greek yogurt with some extras. And the other possibility I thought would make a good spread for bread is baba ganoush.
And how does that work?
It's essentially a few other things, but it's mostly eggplant. Let's
How
see.
does it taste for you? Do you like it?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 eggplants, a half cup of Greek yogurt, a quarter cup of lemon juice, a third cup tahini, 1 clove of garlic, and you can put a tablespoon of mayonnaise in, but that's optional.
My wife makes this one dish we call artichoke chicken noodle salad. It's got artichokes in it, of course, and chopped up chicken and these spiral shaped pastas and some sauteed mushrooms. And she used to put in like half a cup of mayonnaise
Uh-huh.
and almost potato salad type consistency. But she has since reduced that down to almost no mayonnaise in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's still quite good, even with the lower amount of mayonnaise.
Yeah, because a lot of these alternatives that I've seen, while yes, it's a substitute, I'm looking at it and saying this is stuff you want to mix with a salad. It doesn't look thick enough to spread on bread.
Now, my friend Joe makes his own mayonnaise using the food processor.
I've done that a few times.
Have you had good success?
It turned out okay a few times. My biggest disaster was when I learned that you should not use extra virgin olive oil in mayonnaise. That was awful.
No, live and learn.
And let's see. Any suggestions for themes for film picks this week?
Let's see. Nothing comes to mind immediately. What are you in the mood for?
I'm not sure just yet. I mean, I feel guilty because I was how hectic my week was last week. I completely forgot about it until after the place closed. As I said last week, I'm not saying the movies were bad, but the theme, even though they had elements to them that had them listed in the same TV tropes page, they really had nothing in common. I think I'm still in the mood for genre stuff, considering I'm going to Norwescon next week. I might want to stick with the sci-fi genre, though I freely admit that I'm with one of the problems of being a fan of a genre is sooner or later you start scraping the barrel.
Well, have you ever seen Solaris?
I'm more than happy to try it again. The few times I mean, make no mistake, I think the guy's work is brilliant and beautiful, but it really is a challenge to people's attention span.
Well, have you seen the George Clooney version of Solaris?
No, I didn't want to see it until I finally digested the original.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I should be more than happy to watch it again. I mean, because for all my failures at watching Solaris in its entirety, I love Stalker.
I found Stalker just tiresome. I mean, I totally get where it was coming from, and I liked the I can understand the minimalistic aspect to it, but I guess I was just wanting more from it. I'm pretty happy with the coloring I'm doing on this so far.
Yeah, but it was interesting when I first saw it. It and Annihilation made for a great double feature.
Let's see. Have you ever seen the 1970 version of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
97?
Yeah, pardon me, 1979.
Oh, the 1979 one is almost as good as the original. I thought you were talking about the one from the 90s that I think was just called Body Snatchers.
Yes. Okay, then let me think of another one. Oh. The name of it is slipping past my, it's right on the tip of my tongue. It's set in the future where gene manipulation is very popular.
Not Gattaca.
Yes, Gattaca. Yeah. So you've seen Gattaca. Okay. Have you seen Saturn 6?
No, though I know of it. Is that or am I getting it mixed up with the other one? Is that the one with O.J. Simpson, which is all about faking the moon landing?
No, that's Capricorn 6.
Okay.
It might be Saturn 5, but I think it's Saturn 6.
Oh, yeah. Is that based on a darn, now I'm blanking on names, a Kurt Vonnegut book?
No, you're thinking of Sirens of Titan.
Okay.
No, this has Kirk Douglas in it.
Ah,
Kirk Douglas in a science fiction movie. Um, it also has oh Harvey Keitel.
ah,
If you haven't seen this film,
yeah,
you know me, I love a good robot film.
yeah.
Got a robot in it. So I'm trying to think of another film that also has a robot in it for you. Uh, there's a new one that I haven't seen yet, where a girl is assigned a small, a child-sized android the same size as her.
Oh,
But
that's
if you haven't seen it, uh, a film called Artificial Intelligence.
that's the Kubrick one, right? The Spielberg one that was based on the Kubrick idea.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
So that and Saturn, God, is it Saturn 3 or Saturn 6? I'm going to have to look this up because it's driving me nuts. So you get a nice double feature of sci-fi robots.
Mhm.
The movie Saturn 3
Uh-huh.
with Kirk Douglas, Farrah Fawcett, and Harvey Keitel.
Wow. That takes me back. I remember in elementary school, I had a classmate who was utterly obsessed with Farrah Fawcett.
The movie that just came out recently is called Megan.
Okay, I think I had heard of that.
And you've seen Robin Williams in Millennium Man, haven't you?
Oh, it's Bicentennial Man, but
Oh,
yeah.
pardon me, Bicentennial Man, yes. And there's also Will Smith and iRobot.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Recently watched Big Bug, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Because for all the flack that the Robin Williams movie got, it was, if you know your Asimov, it was actually a pretty good adaptation.
I loved that film. I rewatch that every now and then because I really enjoyed it. But I'm a huge nut for robot movies.
Uh-huh.
So Bill, you've been working diligently away. How goes your progress?
Pretty
Something
good.
you want to show before we sign on?
Yeah, just a second.
Well, hang on, let me get so you can share screen. Okay, you should be able to share screen now.
So nearly finished this strip. I was not completely sure about this pose, so I broke out one of the model references to sort of tweak it a little bit, but not bad work for an hour.
No, not bad work at all. Nice job, sir.
Thank you. I'm pretty pleased as just where it was going. I'm sort of comparing my progress I'm sort of trying to play catch up because of to get my buffer back, and suddenly and it's kind of frustrating when you're sort of saying I got to have my buffer back by June, and then start having writer's block due to having the bright idea of adding to my workload last week.
Well, everybody, I want to thank you for watching Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group. We meet every Tuesday at 4:30. Feel free to come here and ask your questions, ask for tips on drawing. We also talk a lot about doing shows around the local area, and we're more than happy to hear about what shows are happening in your region. And Bill, I should be here. I'm double checking my calendar. April 4th. I should be here April 4th. I hope you will be too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye, everyone.